Here are my 8 most important tips for playing Path of Exile 2. Whether you're a new player or seasoned, this will help you out. So at the start of the game, no matter how geared you are, you really just want to stick as close to the starting of the skill tree as possible, because there are tons of notable passives there and there's tons of relevant stats there you can get that are going to be helpful throughout the game. And this will make your character more effective than if you bought a bunch of connecting nodes. And respeccing in Path of Exile 2 is very, very easy and streamlined, so you don't need to worry about respec costs later or anything like that. More power more quickly is always going to be better for the leveling experience, and it's going to feel better, and it's going to make you feel satisfied when you're playing the game. Second off is unrecommended support gems. For Frozen Monk, for instance, Ice Bite is an extremely important support, and it's extremely good, and you want it on Frozen Locust until you get Wave of Frost. But as you can see, it's not in the recommended area for Frozen Locust, but if you click off that little circle in the bottom left, you can just grab it in Act 1, and that'll supplement your DPS and clear speed and help you get through Act 1 and get to Wave of Frost as quickly as possible. Third is keywords and tags. If you're wondering if a certain affix or effect increases your damage or is relevant to your build specifically, you can just hover over any of the tags, and any dotted underlined word is a keyword or a tag, can be affected by affixes in the game essentially, or that interacts with a lot of different effects outside of your character. And here we can see on Wave of Frost, sometimes certain keywords aren't underlined, like movement, but Wave of Frost is a movement, attack, AoE, melee, cold skill, so it'll be affected by all those tags. A quick note on conversions. Conversions happen first, and then stat increases are applied. So here we saw that I have over 6,000 total defensive stats, but when we hover over Iron Reflexes here, it says everything I just said, but more complicated terms. But when we activate Iron Reflexes, we're going to have less than 4,000 total defensive stats, down around 33% from our previous defensive stat total. Just something to keep in mind. Fourth is merchants. You're going to want to check merchants every time you're back in town or have gotten a new level, especially if you're solo self-found. Most of my gear actually comes from the merchant when I'm playing on my own. And you don't need to search through everything one by one. You can just type in the search bar in the bottom certain keywords like rare, it'll show you any rare items, magic, it'll show you magic items, and it'll highlight all of these so they're very easy to see. And the most important stat in the game, movement speed, you can just type in move, and you can see here we found movement speed boots without really trying. And you can also type in things like skill so that you can see if a certain item gives plus to skills. It's very, very helpful. Check every vendor every time you walk by them. Next up is going the right way. Path of Exile 2 can feel like a convoluted and confusing maze at times, but I guarantee you there is a method to the madness on most maps. Generally, you're going to want to go away from the entrance. You're going to want to go in the same direction that the entrance that you just came into an area is pointing. In this case, it's pointing northeast, so we're headed northeast. Just generally northeast. And you see there we hit a dead end, so we check to the left, and we can't really go left anymore, so we're just going to go back to the right. But again, prioritizing that northeast wall. And then you can see here, just around the corner there, we're able to head northeast some more. And here is the spiral staircase in Trader's Passage, showing that we are in the second area of it called the Six Sisters. And this is where Balbala the Trader is located as well. And here we see the Decree of Imprisonment. In just a second, let me clear out these mobs. There are some environmental clues as to which way to go as well. In this area, for instance, and you can see those little talismans on the northeast wall. And if we follow them, you can see that it takes us directly to Balbala the Trader. Now, there are not always environmental clues like this, but when there are, it's very helpful. Next up is what to do with items. Sell, disenchant, salvage. First off, unidentified items are worth about half as much as identified items. So whenever you can, if you're planning on selling items, make sure you just identify them all. And you can see here, we got 60 extra gold. In the early game, that can equate to a lot over time. You're going to want to salvage all socketed gear and all quality gear that you can salvage, because over time, that's going to give you a lot of sockets and a lot of percent defenses that will help you stay alive. And until I reach maps, I typically sell all of my rares, and that amount of gold from selling those rares instead is worth much more in the early and mid game than the regal orbs themselves would be worth. And lastly, in the skills tab, if you hold Alt while you're hovering over something, that window is going to stay frozen there, and you can hover over what's inside of that window. And I like to pin certain windows, and hovering over this play button will show you an example of the skill. And if you click on this right facing arrow within the skill tab, you can see the advanced tooltip breakdown. It'll show you everything from wavelength to freeze modifier to which weapon set you want to automatically use this skill with, to whether you want to use it and completely stand still while you're using it. And this can really help you break down the exact numbers and anything else you're looking for. Anyways, hope this all helped. Let me know if you want more. Thank you. Good luck. Stay safe.